Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, Mystery Review, episode 99. The hints that I gave were embellished history, like the last one. The main characters die. Heterochromia. Loyalty and honor. And a few visuals. And I'm also going to be doing something a little bit newer on this stream. I'm actually going to be showing you stills from the movie so that you can be able to see what I'm talking about, a couple of things here and there. I have a screen shared. It's not up right now, but when I do share it, you'll be able to know exactly what I'm talking about. And I won't be playing anything. I'm only going to be just showing you the stills. I might play a little bit. It's on mute. You will not hear the audio. But I'm going to try to give you a little bit better quality, because apparently some people have said your channel is boring and whatnot. So I'm going to try to be less boring. So yes, 47 Ronin, one of my favorite films about history. Yes, although embellished, it still tells a very important tale. Vanya, good to see you. Ruben Thomas official, always a pleasure to see you. And yes, next week will be my 100th episode of Mystery Reviews, and I will be talking about a movie that I thought was absolute awesomeness. And I'm gonna try to bring on a friend for that one. Hello, Orange and everyone. Neozoic, always a pleasure. So yes, 47 Ronin. In 2013, Carl Rinch directed an adaptation of the events that 47 Ronin undertook to regain undertook the events in which 47 Ronin undertook to regain their honor. Starring Keanu Reeves, Hiroyuki Sanada, Tadanobu Asano, Rinko Kikuchi, Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa, who everybody knows from Mortal Kombat fame, and Ko Shibasaki. She plays, or I do believe that she plays, Mika in this film. This movie was a beautiful blend of Hollywood filmmaking and Japanese culture. The beginning narration of feudal Japan and how the lands were ruled over by lords, who were also ruled over by a shogun, whose rule was considered divine. That is a wonderful thing about Japanese history. If you actually look it up, you learn that these are even Chinese history and Japanese history. Their rulers were considered to have their authority by divine right in their own cultures. And so the beginning also tells a story about the samurai and how peace is kept by them, master swordsmen who are tasked to protect their lord and their provinces at all cost. Should a samurai fail in their task for any reason, they become Ronin, a samurai without a master. And it is considered, folks, to be the highest shame when you are talking about Ronin, or the title of Ronin is basically a samurai without a master. To become a Ronin is to have the highest shame of your life in this culture. You've basically done something extremely wrong, or your master was killed and you failed to protect them, or of something of those circumstances. So then we are introduced to the beginning of the movie with Kai, who, let's see here. Now that I'm live, it's going to buffer a little bit more. this opening scene with Kai, where he was found in the land of Akko, in which most of this movie takes place. Let's see here. Now I can pull it up. And see if I can do this right. There we go. Where you see, this is Kai, the character, or the main character, and above him is a samurai. Well, the samurai sees these claws, which they, of superstition belief, were demonic. And so he actually tries drowning him. So, just to show you a little bit. And so that's how quick it was. And then he collapses, and this is Oishi, who later is played by, in his later years, which was Hiroyuki Sanada's character. Opinions on the standalone Blade of the 47 Ronin? I have not seen it, so I can't really give my opinion on it. So then we see, let's see here. This is Lord Asano, who is the Lord of Akko, and he takes pity on Kai. He allows Kai to live with him and his daughter Mika, and as you can see here, I believe, Mika kind of took an interest to the boy at a young age. But that relationship became, well, more, shall we say, close. However, because he is essentially a half-breed or an outcast, he's not allowed to have any sort of relationship of intimacy with the Lord or anybody of noble standing or status. That also includes samurai and their families. The samurai look down on Kai. So I like how he's teaching her about tracking and whatnot. And then there is this pin this part of her thing that she drops, one of her headpieces. And he picks it up and she allows him to keep it as a gesture of affection, which is pretty nice. I mean, one of the things I do like about this film is it has great moments like this. This is a forbidden love, so to speak. And I think that tale is always interesting if it is done right, because forbidden love usually does have a decent story behind it, unless nowadays you pick shit that should always be forbidden. So, yeah. We then see that in the next scene, let's see if I can get close to it. Let's see here. Yeah, in the next scene, the samurai and the feudal lord are hunting a creature, which shows up. Let's see if I can get here. Creature knocks down the feudal lord. Let's see here. And we see this fox right here. Now, they also go very close up with the heterochromia, because this character is quite seen throughout the film. How would you compare 47 Ronin with other Keanu films such as John Wick, Speed, Matrix, Bill and Ted? This is a more mature Keanu Reeves film. I think that he dedicated himself to learning the culture and whatnot, and he does. That's a wonderful thing that can be said about Keanu Reeves, is that he truly does appreciate the culture that of the movies that he is a part of. He is kind of like Tom Cruise in that way. He wants to make it as authentic as possible. However, he also has his own way for he also has his own way of doing things as well. And yes, the creature that they are chasing is called a Kirin. This was the question I just answered. The beast that they're chasing after is called a Kirin, and I do believe I can show you that. So 737. Right here. So yes, the Kirin, or Qilin in Chinese, is Asian mythology, is actually a benevolent creature that doesn't touch grass and appears in imminent arrival or passing of a sage or illustrious ruler. Imminent arrival or passing. Well, then I guess this is fitting because the shogun was going to arrive. However, this thing is extremely pissed off, as you can clearly see. And it knocked over a samurai here who, once looks at it, freaks the heck out. So let's see if I can maintain the quality. Let it buffer, I guess. Come on. Or, all right, go back to auto. There we go. Now, Kai ends up taking down the creature, and the samurai here that you saw right here is Yasuno. He ends up taking credit for the kill, and he feels shame for being saved by Kai. And this role here, or this character Yasuno, is actually redeems himself later in the film. He's actually played very well. The acting in this movie is very well done. Excuse me. I think that understanding the culture as much as you can will also help you appreciate this film a little bit more. But you also do have weaker acting elements throughout this film. Tadanobu Asano's character, he plays it very well. However, I do see some of his acting struggles a little bit in certain areas. But then again, it could be just how he was directed. So yes, Kai grabs the sword, kills the beast, and Yasuno wants to kill him. As you see, his sword is raised right here. But the others show up, so yeah, Kai is spared. And so they remove a horn, or a piece of its horn, or antler, for proof of kill, gives it to the feudal lord. And this is when Oishi sees the blood on Kai's hand, and yet he will not receive any acknowledgement for helping a samurai. Keanu Reeves starred and directed A Man of Tai Chi, and I love the movie. Nice. I'll have to check it out sometime if I ever get the chance. So then we get to, or he ends up seeing the same fox. And it's a repeated shot with the squinting of the eyes as well as it running off. That is a common thing that they do in movies to save money on digital effects, is that they will repeat certain shots to let you know or that fit in other cases. In this case, that works because it's looking at him like, okay, you see me, I see you, but I'm going to get out of here because I got to go do something else. Which turns out it's a witch that is in fox form, and she's going to tell her master that, or who is Lord Kira, played by Tadanobu Asano, that Lord Asano lives. The witch is played beautifully by Rinko Kikuchi. Now, let's see here. And yes, they have her using 2 different color eyes. They put a blue lens in her left eye in order to show that let's see here. See if I can get any closer to it. Because he's asking her if Lord Asano lives, and she's reporting back, yes, he lives. So essentially, yeah. And you see that she's actually quite devoted to him. She's very ashamed that she couldn't couldn't please her master. She's quite devoted to him in that regard. And I do like Tadanobu Asano. Everybody knows Tadanobu Asano from the Thor movies. He plays Hogan the Grim. He also played in Battleship. And I think I've seen him in another movie. I can't remember exactly what, but he does a great job with his acting, especially under the right direction. So, moving into the further stuff, we see Mika, where she is, let's see here. Mika is preparing for the Shogun's arrival. She has the plans here that she's trying to get Akko ready for the Shogun to arrive. And hearing the report that her father is back, as well as the hunting party, she sees that Yasuno, I can't play it because I will most likely get the stream cut down. However, she does see that he has shame in his eyes, and her father notices, who are you looking for? I mean, he notices that she's looking for somebody else, not just the person who is, or not just those who have made it back. This guy, no, looks like Shang Tsung. Yeah, this is actually an older Lord Asano, played by the same actor, but with his older hair. And they're preparing for the Shogun's arrival. And he's proud of his daughter. And this is Oishi and his wife. His wife is freaking very beautiful. If I could find a better shot of his wife. And his son is training to be a samurai himself. So let's see if I can... This is Riku, his wife. There's his wife. That's Riku. And she plays this role quite well. It's a minor role. However, it's very well done acting, because later on he tells her, you have to convince the world that you have divorced me. Essentially, yes, divorce is a more modern term, where essentially in that case it means you essentially disavow me. But she tells him, I am the wife of a samurai. Your duty is mine. And that is just, she plays that so well in that later scene. This film has brilliant cinematography, is a great visual film to tell the story. And I just really appreciate this film for what it is. His son, Chikara, is helping along, or is training to be a samurai, and he looks to have the approval of his father. And she even tells him that. He seeks your approval. And here's Kai living in his hut, and the princess, so to speak, learns that Kai is back home, so she goes to see him. Now, again, this is a forbidden love. So it's not a sexual rendezvous that they're having here. It's more that she is there to see how he is doing, because his back is rather damaged, so she does clean it and whatnot. And he looks away, and she's like, look at me in the eyes and tell me you don't love me. And he says, I will always love you, but we can't be together. You have your place, I have mine. So this is well put, or this is great writing. Now, I will say that that line is not delivered at its best. However, I do think it is still delivered to the point, because he does kind of send her away. So then we get the arrival of the Shogun, I do believe, is next. Let's see here. Skipping forward. Yep, the arrival of the Shogun. Played by Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa. Right here. This is Shang Tsung, folks, from Mortal Kombat 96. And he plays this role very well. Now, Akko, or the land of Akko, to give you guys an idea, they have, or their colors are more red and rustic red and whatnot. Or Nagato, which is Lord Kira, is purple. And as you can see with the Shogun, it's gold. Kitsune, a shape-shifting fox in Japanese mythology. There are two major variations: holy foxes that serve the Shinto deity Inari, or wild foxes, they delight in mischief or evil. Well, we know that Kitsune, or that the second one is the case in this film, which the same witch is presented here, because we see that he has spotted a girl with the same color eyes as the fox he had seen later. However, he can't directly, or because Kai is of low station, because a lot of people would ask, why doesn't he go to his lord to address this? Honestly, I have wondered that too. It would have made a little bit more sense for him to try, or at least show a scene where he does try to see the feudal lord, Lord Asano, about this incident. However, they don't really show that. So instead, they show him going to Oishi, where Oishi he's like, or he mocks him for a little bit. He's like, they say only demons can recognize witchcraft. Are you a demon? No. Then I feel you've been bewitched by a beautiful woman, nothing more. He completely dismisses Kai because he always believes that Kai is just a bad omen. So then we get to the arrival of Lord Kira, who has his witch came in with the shogun's concubines. And Tadanobu Asano, right here, he actually is like, I didn't know that your concubine is so lovely. And so, yeah, he's like, she's my daughter? You asshole. And so he apologizes. He's like, I would like her to sit with us so I can make up for my rudeness. And then it's like, yeah, he's not apologizing for rudeness. You could just tell that Tadanobu Asano plays this, and he's kind of enjoying that role. Every time I hear Kari Hiroyuki Sanada, I expect him to say, your soul is mine, right? I mean, he did a very good job with the role of Shang Tsung. I will say that right now, folks. And I may say it later. Dabian, good to see you. You're reviewing 47 Ronin. Yes, I am. And so we then get to a tournament that they are doing. And Yasuno is going to participate in the tournament. However, the witch is back and ends up cursing him. These are the theater people, which come to play a role later on. This guy is part of the theater procession and whatnot. And then we get this absolute monster of a beast of a samurai. I mean, let me just, you see how big this guy is. And it's like, holy crap, how is this guy? Let me see if I could show you, or yeah. I mean, this guy right here, absolute freaking monster of a man. And you don't see a face underneath the armor or any sort of skin on this armor whatsoever. Where then they're waiting for, or they find that Yasuno is under bewitchment. So, well, only a samurai can fight, and if a samurai doesn't fight, Akko is disgraced. So, what do we do? Now, this scene here, I do want to show this. I'm not going to, or it's only going to be for a couple seconds. I really enjoyed the sequel, Blade of the 47 Ronin, as well. I will have to check that out then. I will check it out eventually. So, when he raises his fan up here, he says, enough. Basically, you do not want, or the shogun is not to, he was the predator and prey. Oh, seriously? The guy that plays the massive samurai. Nice. That's interesting to know. So, yes, when he raises his fan to basically cover his mouth, it's a private thing. And so they're calling for a fighter. Well, then a fighter shows up, and it's, well, Bill from Bill and Ted. And I do like this scene. It shows a good battle. And this dude has basically you think they're both katanas. However, the more elongated katana, I do believe, goes by a different name. And they do have some, let's see if I can get to it. I'll go backward right here. Yeah. You see that he holds or strikes right here. However, the blade shatters and then he just backhands him. And, well, he's now revealed. It's like, oh shit. And the Shogun stops it because the proceedings have now been made a mockery of. Or this tournament has now been made a mockery of. So when the Shogun says stop, everybody stops. Even a demon that is in a giant suit of armor. And he tells him, you're no samurai. And then he orders him killed, which Mika runs in, which also stops the Shogun again. And it's like, oh, shit. So now Asano has to go before the Shogun and say the fault is mine, saving his daughter's life. And so the Shogun tells Oishi, strip him of his armor and beat him. And this scene is truly, it's emotional. Where he strips him of the armor, no words are said. They're all beating him. And so then, or Chikara's seeing it. And I can't exactly, well, I'll show you this bit. They constantly beat him until Basho steps in. He tells him, I'm sorry, and then he does the final strike. So basically, House Asano has been disgraced because of the deception of Kai being in that armor. Hey, Chris, good to see you, my brother. How you doing? So, only problem I had with this film, I wish there was more of Zombie Boy, aka Rick Genest, and should had a sword fight with Keanu Reeves. I would have loved to see that. Interesting. The Demon Predator. So, yeah. So now, House Asano and Akko have been disgraced a little bit. But to add further to the disgrace, she tried seeing her father. She was turned away. The witch is going to do a spell, which she then bewitches Lord Asano again. And she puts him under a spell with this spider. Let's see here. Which traces venom across his lips. And then after, or he's now under a bewitchment where he thinks his daughter's being raped by Lord Asano. So, yeah, he actually cuts him in the back and goes after him, which everybody wakes up, sees him, and he breaks out of it. However, the damage has been done. He just attacked an unarmed guest in his home. And they see that his eyes are bewitched, and then they return to normal. Because, or when his daughter came in, and it's like, oh crap, you know. However, unfortunately, the Shogun has come in, and well, let's see if I can. Yep, the Shogun sees it, and everybody's like, oh shit. So you've disgraced your home, you've disgraced your land. In this case, there's only one thing to be done. And these two look at each other, and the Shogun orders that Lord Asano commit seppuku. which I did want to use as a hint for the mystery review. However, it wouldn't have been a good idea because it would have been too on the nose, shall we say. So he then has him do the whole thing. She cannot, or she's about to lose her father. And so we get the whole seppuku scene here. And the amount of detail that they paid attention to for this entire ritual is really well done. How would I compare 47 Ronin with other samurai films such as The Last Samurai, Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai, and Yojimbo, Ninja Scroll anime, and Harakiri? The Last Samurai is also a great film that also has Hiroyuki Sanada in it with Tom Cruise. So Hiroyuki Sanada, whenever there's a movie that is or that has a sort of samurai or Japanese motif to it, Hiroyuki Sanada is the actor to go to because, well, he is actually a expert in this area, I do believe. So yeah, Hiroyuki Sanada being in both The Last Samurai and 47 Ronin is a well done or is a great choice because Hiroyuki Sanada is, well, I would almost consider him a modern day samurai or a person who truly respects the culture that he is a part of. So yes, Lord Asano, in order or doing seppuku, you put a last will down, you strip your top, and you take the knife, slit your stomach, and then if this is a noble, your head is removed, and which is the case in this. And Kai understands the ending of an era right here. And now the samurai, they want revenge because they know the truth. He was bewitched. However, it comes out that the shogun refuses or tells them, you're Ronin, you're not allowed to seek vengeance for your master. And Lady Asano is now betrothed to Lord Kira, so that the two lands won't feud. And after the shogun declares them Ronin and leaves, well, Kira basically says, you're all banished. He wastes no time, and I do love that scene, or I do love the scene. He's like, he wastes no time. You're all banished, and you'll be executed if you stay. And then he captures Kai, tells her to take a last look, and Kai sold to slavery, which I believe, and they throw Oishi into a pit for a year, and she's also granted a year to mourn her father. So now Oishi has to go and find Kai to continue the story here. Let's see if I can get into the Dutch island, so to speak. They also do have wonderful scenes of... So on the Dutch island, you see Kai here fighting this monster of a beast guy here. Now, hey, Skyhound, good to see you. One of the things I like about this scene is when they send in Oishi after Kai beats this guy. Let's see if I can get to it. Yep. Or he just walks up to him and starts slashing at him. And he's trying to get his attention. This is so well choreographed. Favorite samurai weapons? Honestly, I'm not very much versed other than outside of the katana and the short sword that they have. So, yeah. But I do like this. It's where he's trying to get his attention, and he's not having it. To the point where he even kicks him in the stomach. He's trying to get his attention. He's like, it's me, it's Oishi. And he's like, I don't fucking care. To the point where he has him at death's door until he says the name Mika, which snaps him out of it. Because Kai has been at this island or at this under slavery for a year. So he's pretty much half wild at this point. And the acting here does do a wonderful job at showing, or Keanu does a wonderful job at basically being half out of his mind. But now that he snapped out of it, they end up fighting with each other and escaping from the island. And there's a nice scene. Let's see if I can find it here. After escaping, let's see here. This is the scene. I'm trying to find the moment here. Yep, this is it right here. So let me or go back to what you were. And he tells him, don't you turn your back on me, Ronin. Because now, remember, if Oishi here was still a samurai, he'd have every right to kill Kai. But now that he's a Ronin, he doesn't have the protection of his rank. So, kunai, yeah, there's also the kunais, which are more ninja weaponish, not samurai weaponish. But yes, he tells him, don't you turn your back on me. And he goes to draw a sword, but then sheathes it again. And he tells him, if you ever kneel before Lord Kira again, I'll take your head. So now they're planning vengeance and rescuing the princess. Which they have, or he also sent his son to go get the other samurai, or rather the other Ronin, and they take the vow to send Kira to hell for their choices. And Yasuno is not happy about Kai being there, and he actually goes to frickin' hit him. And he tells him he's not a samurai, he doesn't belong here, and well, none of us are samurai anymore. So it's like, well, okay. Y'all are just going to have to deal with Kai being there. So now they have multiple purposes to find out the village of sword makers, Uetsu. And unfortunately, the place is abandoned because Kira's men have taken it over. And we get the scene where Kai wipes them all out. This scene is actually well done with choreography as well, but also the acting is quite nice in this because it shows when Kai actually steps in to kill these people, where Oishi would have been, if he was still samurai, would have been like, what the hell are you doing? Instead, he tells him, help him collect the weapons. He tells the others, help him collect the weapons, or help him. Because they're like, oh my god, what did we just witness here? Because Kai literally slaughters these guys as soon as they realize, well, they're not farmers as they said they were. So yeah, Kai just kills every one of them, and they're like, he's like, help them. And they're like, are you out of your fucking mind? So basically, the person that they look down to, in this case, is telling them, or is basically leading them in their journey to seek revenge. So it's kind of a very good reversal where they look down on Kai his entire life, that he has been in their lives. He's now their best hope. They can't find swords, so they can scavenge swords and they look for other ones. To be fair, many ninjas in real life were samurai themselves. Ninja, I do believe, were Chinese, not Japanese, but I could be wrong. Kind of busy right now, but yeah. So we then get the scene in the Tengu forest because he's like, we'll try in Hida to find more swords. Let me see here. And they decide to go to the Tengu forest. And one of them goes to try to find Lord Kira, or find out when Lord Kira is going to pray to his ancestors at his ancestor's shrine. So best time to get him out in the open. And it turns out this guy gets bewitched by none other than Yuki, who is also the witch, played by Rinko Kikuchi. Now, the scene in the Tengu Forest is, or you see digital effects here, which are lesser, shall we say, in quality, but they still get the point across. Right here. I mean, they say that these are unwanted souls and whatnot. And then they get to the Tengu temple. Now let's see if I can get to the Tengu Lord here. Now only Oishi and Kai go in, and he tells him, no matter what you do, no matter what you hear or see, do not draw your sword. The Tengu design in this film, I actually like it pretty much. I do too. The Tengu design is quite a nice blend between bird and man. I have got to go now. Take it easy, Davian. Good to see you. Catch up with the rest of the review later. Thank you so much, bub. And I do appreciate you, Davian, for coming along. So, yes, we get Kai and the Tengu Lord right here. And I like how his nose is more like a beak, and you see these slits in the eye, or right here where my mouse is circling, which are more like, it is more like a beak. So it is quite interesting to see there. And he's asking for swords, and he's like, go ahead, take it if you could beat me to it. And then he continues to try to piss off Kai. And he tells him, and he also talks about Oishi out there. He's like, he told him not to draw a sword. If he does, him and his men who are outside will die. Now, there is a scene in this, which I can't show, where he said, or where Yasuno, who doesn't like Kai, tells the others, if they don't make, or if he does not come back in a few minutes, I am going in. So then we get this scene where he puts his hands on a sword. Now, let's see if I can get to it. That's actually a really good shot right here to give you a little bit more texture and detail of the Tengu Lord. So then you see that, oh, fuck, his men came in and they start acting weird. So Yasuno draws his sword, and Oishi hasn't drawn his sword during the entire time. Now, I am going to show you a little bit of this. How you could see the movements of the Tengu. and he's trying, or he doesn't draw his sword. He's seeing all of this slaughter around him, and he keeps on hearing the Tengu Lord telling him, draw your sword, save your men, draw your sword, Oishi, save your men, help them. And he refuses to do it. And Kai, who knows the Tengu because he fled from them, uses it, or has to basically get to the sword before the Tengu Lord does. And you get this great cinematography here. And you see his son, he's protecting his son. However, they get around and his son is about to be killed. So it's like, okay, now you notice that Kai has the same powers that they do. And so now he passed the test and he reached the sword before the Tengu Lord. So they get the swords. And he told them, you passed their test. We can have the swords, but we must leave now. Now, what's so special about these swords, you might say? Besides the pretty cool bamboo handles. Well, Basho, the fat samurai, he's like, what if you're a strong man like me? And he tells him, or it depends on who the person is. And so he pulls him, and I love this. He just drops it with his arm a little bit, and it just effortlessly cuts through the branch. They cut. So then you see Basho try doing the same thing. Doink. Oh, stops. Doesn't work. I really do like this scene. And yes, this part was I absolutely love this scene. He's like, I think mine's broken. So then we get to the next scene where they all show up, and Asano's going to his shrine. However, when they get to the shrine, or they're about to go after him, however, there's Lord Kira. However, it turns out it's not Kira. It's a trap. So the guy that got bewitched by her gets burnt to a crisp. And sadly, Basho, the very big samurai guy, ends up getting 3 arrows in his back. And the big guy comes in right here. So they manage to escape, however, and the witch takes the sword of Oishi, his samurai, or because Oishi originally gave his sword to one of the others in order to use it for their needs. However, that guy was also killed due to the ambush and whatnot. Fun fact, Tengu in Japanese myth, there are 2 types, Shinto god spirits or yakai, and the name is borrowed from the name of Chinese dog-like demon, Tiangao, or Tiangao. Oh, that's interesting. Now, she presents the sword to Lord Kira, so he's happy. Now, there is a scene, or she is constantly needling. She's constantly needling and threatening Lady Asano throughout this film, and this film does, or these small bits are kind of I like them because they set up a future event, especially this scene here, because she's playing with a knife above her, and then she stabs the knife right to the side of her head. Not into her head, but to the side of her head. So when she leaves the area and basically tells the princess to kill herself, well, the princess is going to take that, but she keeps it for herself. She's not so, um, she's not so lost or depressed that everybody is dead. She's basically going to use that as motivation, which is a nice bit of storytelling in this. And now that they are, or that they've lost a bunch of people, and Basho dies, with a nice touching scene here where he makes a confession to Kai. He's like, when we were kids, I used to throw stones at your hut, and then I would hide behind the tree. Hey, Cannoli Sasquatch, good to see you. Just catching you here. And he tells him, you're a good man, Kai. And because Basho respected him more, as you saw, Basho was the one to stop them from beating on him under the Shogun's orders. And then he tells him, he's like, I knew it was you. I could see your stomach from around the tree. And he then passes on, and you see you see how the other samurai are heartbroken over this, which is another great way, because in this culture, they're brothers. They're essentially brothers to each other. Losing a samurai or losing a fellow samurai is akin to losing a brother. And the storytelling here is very powerful because it shows that they've lost somebody dear to them, somebody as close as family. And so now you see Oishi is doubting himself. He's saying, I should have taken vengeance the moment my master was dead. I should have killed Lord Kira then. But understanding back then, before or straight after Lord Asano committed seppuku, he tells him we can't do anything without, or if we go after him without proof, then all of Akko, including the including the people of Akko, will be killed. There's nothing we can do about it. Well, now he wishes that he had done something about it, because at least then some people would still be alive. However, he's reminded, Kira thinks we're ghosts. We have the advantage now. We have the numbers. And we get the declaration in the next scene, which comes up everybody, or the following day. They also find the people who performed in Akko with the theater, or these are the theater people who are going to Kira and Lady Asano's wedding. So he's like, we know who you are. We saw you perform in Akko. And that's when they recognize him, and he's like, okay, we are going to help you because we don't like freaking Lord Kira either. So then we get to the declaration of the 47 Ronin. Now this blood pact that they do, where they sign their name, and I'm going to show you how they do it here. Each one of them does this. They tap their blade because the blade is sharp enough to cut, and they mark it there. each one, or what you see here is the declaration of their intent. They know that what they are about to do is highly illegal. However, they're doing it for the right reasons. And by signing their name and putting their blood, this is a blood oath, something that is extremely sacred in the larger scheme of things. It is extremely sacred in the culture at the time. And I need to check something right now. Okay. I haven't been stopped yet, so that's good. So, yeah, each one of them, the 47 Ronin, all do the same thing, or their signatures, and they even allow Kai to do it, as well as Chikara, his son, who's not yet a samurai, devotes his intention to follow his father. And then they allow Kai to step forward and do the same thing. So yes, this is the declaration of the 47 Ronin. And she's giving Kira some omens, says, oh, they're good, not everybody will know your name, yada yada. Now, there was a scene, I should go back to it. Let's see here. Before the declaration of 47 Ronin, where Yasuno right here seeks peace with Kai. This scene was very nice because, remember, Yasuno was saved by Kai in the beginning of the movie, and he felt shamed because Kai saved him. Where now, he is seeing Kai in a whole nother light because Kai has saved them several times, helped them, and whatnot. And he even admits, he's like, it is not a samurai's way to steal credit for something they didn't do. And he then gives Kai Basho's short sword and tells him a samurai wears two swords, not just one. And he presents it to him as a gift. This is the last gift of Basho to, or as well, to Kai, because Basho was also a friend to Kai. So now, moving forward, we get the theater people, and this whole scene here where they have, or where they have all of them sneaking in under or into the castle because they couldn't find him the first time. You see them preparing for the celebration because this is basically a wedding celebration, but not the wedding. And all the time that this is happening, you see the other men are sneaking in and slowly taking out all the guards of the perimeter while this scene is happening. This is actually really good editing here. And one of the things I like, if I can find it, let me see if I can find it here. Yep, right here. So these guys go up, kill them, and they get pulled down, and boom, immediate replacement. Nobody's gonna, or mostly if you see the head and you see that it's the helmets, you're not gonna really question it, are you? So we then see more of the thing here. And unfortunately, one guard gets their shot off before before Oishi can make his move against the Sano. And then we see that all hell breaks loose. Now, all hell breaking loose is, or this entire scene is very well done. And you then see, I think, let's see here. Yep, right here. Remember that big old, or that big giant samurai? Well, he was witchcraft. He was witchcrafted into life. So that was, I mean, it was blatantly obvious for somebody like me, but for other people, it's like maybe he was just a human that was, enhanced. Well, no, he was actually not a human at all. He was just a walking piece of armor, as it turns out. So then we get the fights between Kai and, or Asano and, or not Asano, but Oishi and Kira, as well as, and I gotta say, the fight between Oishi and Kira, I wish I could show you all this without going between the different areas. And then we get the fight between Kai and the half, or the witch, in which the witch, in which the witch, woof, but yeah, in which the witch becomes a dragon. Now, one thing they actually did well with this dragon, so to speak, is this is a nice shot here. Sorry, have to show it. I don't care if I get pulled. It shows that the sword is pretty strong. Now, you see the eyes of this dragon. One eye is brown or goldish, and the other is bluish. Let me, or yeah, you can see that the eyes are still two different colors, so that it is indeed the witch, which is a nice little bit here. So I really do like that because it is attention to detail. The CGI of this dragon could be a little bit touched up, but it's actually pretty good for the year that it was in, which I believe 2013. And you get the fight between them, and you also get the fight between, or intercut between Kira and Oishi. I forgot the name for a second there. I lost the name there. And he ends up killing Kira, or getting Kira killed here. And he tells him, "No, now you will know my master's courage." Because it does take courage to stick a knife in your gut in order to preserve the honor of your home. Now, you then see Kai using his power here. Now, he also does, this part here was not the best, but that right there was pretty cool. And the dragon obviously dies and regresses to the witch. So, yes, the witch is dead. And now, for Lord Asano and and for Akko, and he wastes no time, folks. They're all still fighting, mind you. So he tells him, fighting's over. Raising the head, letting them know. Well, you also see Lord Asano's men immediately stop hostilities. For those of you who don't know, back in those days, if your leader is dead, you're done. You quit. You stop your fighting. Hostilities are ended. The other side is won. And if you do stop your hostilities, chances are you'll live. Possibly as a prisoner, possibly as an outcast, possibly as a person now loyal to the other that you lost to. So yeah, they end up carrying his head out, and all is well and whatnot. And there's this scene where they're all bowing to the Ronin who have brought honor back to their land. The mother. Now, this scene here is actually quite powerful. I do want to show a little bit of it. Fun fact, Asian dragons are benevolent creatures. Yes, I do know that. And that control the weather, storms, water, as well as breathe fire. Asian dragons represents the emperor and the signal or the symbol yang of the yin yang. Exactly. Now, this scene here with Rinku and Chikara, where she's looking on him and there's no words spoken here, but she's saddened because she understands what is about to happen. She knows that what they did essentially is one of the worst crimes you can commit. You defied the shogun's, or they defied the shogun's orders. And so they avenged their master, yes. However, they've been, or the shogun is returned, and he tells him, you defied, or I specifically told you not to seek revenge. And there's a beautiful line by Hiroyuki Sanada here. I can't play it, but he tells him, a man cannot serve under the same heaven of someone who has murdered their lord. Don't breathe fire. Whoops. Sorry about that. So yes, they don't breathe fire. That is the Western myth, not the Eastern myth. But yes, the shogun said, told you not to seek vengeance, and he's like, a man cannot serve under the same heaven as one who has murdered their lord. And he begs, essentially, for honor and respect to be shown to his men, because they are the bravest that he has ever known. And the shogun agrees. He's like, I see only samurai before me. You've all followed the way of Bushido, so you will be able to die with honor next to your lord. And that is including Kai, because he says, I see only samurai before me, meaning also Kai is among them. So yes, they have their final moments together, including with Kai and Mika, if this will load. And he tells her, I will search for you through 1,000 or through 1,000 worlds and 10,000 lifetimes until I find you. Dedication, folks. Dedication. That line by Sanada after the charge that the shogun gives makes sense, and the writing is so good. Exactly. Because he tells him, I can't serve under the same heaven as the person who murdered my lord. And it works so well. And these two, I mean, one of the things that I do like about this movie, and because, yes, if this movie was made in the 90s, you bet your ass there would be a fucking sex scene in it between Kai and Mika. However, in this film, I do like that they don't meet. Hold on a second, folks. There. They don't need that kind of intimacy in this scene. So we then get to the seppuku sequence where everybody is watching, including Mika. Now, right here, he calls for Chikara, the son of Oishi, to step out. And he tells Oishi, I will not deny your country or our country your bloodline. Because this man, Oishi here, did what he understood to be right, even though he was given by the shogun's decree not to do it. So he tells him, and the wife here is thankful. So Chikara gets to live so that the bloodline can continue. He tells him, I will not deny our country your bloodline. And he will live in, or Chikara will live as a samurai serving Akko, the land. So then we have the scene here. They shed their top. And I can't show everything because obviously I'm going to pause here and there. Skip forward. Well, all right. Well, right here. Now, they don't show the full sequence either because they also show that after the samurai, where the Lord has his head removed, where the samurai, when they're committing it, they go across the gut and then they bring the blade to their neck and they slice their neck. And however, they don't show the final bit. However, you do see this bit here where you hear Kai's voice reading out his will, which says, I will search for you through 1,000 worlds and 10,000 lifetimes. And she has the very gift that she gave to Kai, which he kept all these years. This story is so freaking powerful, folks. And then we get to the ending, which I'll read out the narration and stop showing stop sharing the screen. But I do want to read out what it says at the end, what the narrator says. Now, it says, the memory of the 47 Ronin who put duty and justice before their fear of death has lived down through the centuries as one of the greatest examples of honor and loyalty in Japanese culture. Each year on December 14th, thousands of people from around the world visit the graves of the 47 Ronin to pay their respects. This film was inspired by their story. So, yes, bonus fact, the Chinese or Asian phoenix, or Feng Huang in Chinese, Huo in Japanese, is the Empress of Yin to Dragon's Emperor and Yang. Also, both dragon and phoenix are popular in decorations for weddings. Indeed, they are. So, yes, while this film does have digital effects that are very dated, especially for 2013, this was 10 years ago, I think that the film, the story, is very compelling, is very beautiful to watch. You have visual storytelling of the color scheme as well, where Lord Asana or Lord Kira is purple, which I do believe is symbolism for less than noble, shall we say. And red is, or Akko is red, and the Shogun is obviously gold. They did such a good job at trying to keep it as respectful to Japanese culture as they could, which, according to the Japanese, I think they said was very well done. I do like the acting, and I do like Hiroyuki Sanada is my favorite Japanese actor. I feel that he has a lot of respect for his roles and how he tries to make sure that if a movie has these things, they are to respect them as best as they can, to be as accurate as they can. So I think that as well is a good, is well done. The writing is absolutely beautiful between characters in certain roles or in certain situations. Riku, the wife of Oishi, how she tells him, "I am the wife of a samurai. Your duty is mine as well." Even though he tells her, "You must make the rest of the world believe you have divorced me. Only you and I can know that you are the joy of my life." I just absolutely love the writing in this film. And objectively, the CGI heavy sequences are what does the most damage to this film. And Keanu Reeves is a great addition to this film. And objectively, I find this film at around 8 out of 10 because the CGI heavy sequences are what does the most damage to this film. You have good CGI here and there with the Kirin, the beast that they were hunting, and the dragon, yes. However, the hair sequences where the witch, you see certain sequences in this film where the witch uses her hair like snakes, like tendrils almost. Those are not very, or those sequences are less good or less quality. Also, the folding of her fabric under CGI is also less quality. It's very shiny where it should be a little bit darker and grittier. So you do see that the lighting quality for the CGI is lesser. However, writing, acting, directing, all of that, especially the cinematography, is well freaking done. I mean, I cannot fault this movie for that. Anyway, subjectively, 10 out of 10. This movie does a really good job, in my opinion. I really do enjoy it. Moviegoer, this movie is a 10 out of 10. You have a great story. It keeps your ass in your seat. It gets you to watch it all the way through. And it's fun to see. It's fun to learn a little bit about the culture as well. December 14th, people go all around the world to go to Japan to see the 47 Ronin or their graves. I think is something that is interesting to know because, again, it is the highest lesson and example of honor and loyalty in Japanese culture of what they did. Now, yes, this movie is very much embellished history. It does not provide an accurate account of the 47 Ronin, but what they, or the overall core of the story of where they sought revenge against an unjust order and of a lord who had killed their master. Yes, that is something that they did. So yes, that will be the review. Thank you so much to everybody who has joined in. Neozoic, Skyhound, Davian, Vanya, Cannoli Sasquatch, or Chris Daly, and a few other friends who I knew watched tonight or today. Ruben Thomas, and yeah. Thank you all for tuning in. And Skyhound as well. And Neozoic. And I believe that is all. The hint for next week for episode 100 of the Mystery Reviews is a Muslim in the far north. Also, swords, which is the theme of the June Mystery Reviews. Now, if you know it, don't spoil it. Not in the chat. Also, tonight I will be on Society of Reviews channel for a little bit to discuss some of the stuff. I will possibly have to bounce out there and then come back in later. The Sundays, I'm doing Infinity Saga Sundays. where it is, the next one is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. And we're going to have the Hat Crew back for that one. It's going to be a great one. And then next, or I'm also going to, hopefully, if people want to join, let me know on YouTube, or not YouTube, but Twitter. I'm planning on doing a 4-week special for discussing the lore and the movies of the Book of Wick, John Wick chapters 1 through 4. So if you want to be a part of that, let me know if you want to be on the stream, because I really do want to discuss that with a panel to see if they recognize all this lore and whatnot. This is going to be a deep dive, folks, because the John Wick movies are very good. They need to stop at 4, though. If they go to a 5th, that's a soulish cash grab. Anyway, thank you so much to everybody in the chat. Thank you to everybody who watched, who left a like, and all that stuff. Thank you so much. It does mean a lot. Yes, I have been discouraged over the last week because my hours are still going down. I am hoping that some of you all can help play some playlists. It will help my hours get back up. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. I know it has a little bit of boring quality to it, but I do the best with what I have, and I'm trying to make it better. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all have a wonderful day. This has been Orange Hat Reviews. Stay humble.